there, my name is Nicole for those who are new here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a video on the Miss Universe pageant and my predictions with the current preliminary competition. So let's get started. And firstly, I'm going to start this off by saying that I didn't really see a clear winner in the preliminary competition. Like, no one really stood out to me and said, oh yeah, you're definitely going to win. So we're going to have to wait until tomorrow to really see what's going on, and there may be a lot of surprises, so I'm going to go ahead and go through my top 20 and top 5, top 3, and then my projected winner. So let's see how this goes. So first on my list is number 20, who is Miss Spain. And I first off have to say I really love this girl's confidence, and I do think that any of these top picks that I have could really stand out and move farther along, you know, behind the scenes, because we don't really get to see much of the interviews. Although I have looked at a couple of, you know, contenders on their profiles, like social media, before they came out. But I just see her confidence, and she really executed. My favorite part was actually her swim performance was really standing out to me. She just looks really confident, very fit, happy. Looks like it could influence someone that you really want to be friends with. And I also think, too, that her gown performance was beautiful, too. But the one thing is, I do wish that she turned it up with her gown a little bit more. It more looks like a national gown versus, like, you know, one that's on, like, you know, Miss Universe stage. However, I don't think that will really have any fault for her because she performed really well in it. She looked really confident. And I do like that it was, like, the pink color as well. So she seems like she could be a top contender for sure. She looks really smart as well. So she's probably going to do really well in this competition. So next on my list is Miss Bolivia. Now, she did a phenomenal job with her preliminary competition, and I will have to say that she also gave me similar vibes to the last contender as well for number 20. She had also a really pretty pink gown on, and she gave me full confidence, full face, eyes, lips, face, everything looked great. And that is one thing I know they look for too, is, like, you know, the face close-ups of their faces, like their expressions, and it looked phenomenal. And she looked really pretty. I liked her hair up too with her dress. It looked great. And I actually do think that she is going to potentially even score higher than this, but this is just where I put her on my list. But I could potentially see her, you know, even getting top 10, top 5. She is just a strong contender. And Bolivia, you know, they've had some really good contenders in the past, so she's got a lot of experience behind her belt and a good team. So I'd like to see her place well. So next on my list is number 18, which is Miss France. And now she has been on a lot of Miss Universe's prediction lists for a while. Like, she has been a contender, and she's also been one that had a contract with Miss France for getting COVID, so she had an extra year to prep. And I actually thought she would place a lot higher with all that extra time. However, she's not really standing out to me as much as I wish she would. So she's going to actually be lower on my list, and I was kind of hopeful that she would be a little higher. And I will also say this too, her dress too was not giving me, like, what I wanted it to. Like, I would have loved to see a little bit more from her. Although she was very confident, put together, I felt she could have given me a lot more. However, I will say this, I do think that she is definitely a very smart contender because she has a business degree. So I do think that she could actually place higher with her interview skills and, like, with her platform too. So she could place higher than this. I kind of just wish she gave me a little more. And also one particular thing, I feel like this dress, I do like giving risks on the Miss Universe stage with this dress. But the one thing I will say, it almost looked more like high fashion than it did pageant, which says a lot for me because I even love, you know, being out there. But I didn't really feel like she stood out enough to me, unfortunately. And I was wishing it gave me a little bit more. I do see where it was going, but, like, I wish it gave me just a tiny bit more. And I will say this too, in her swim performance, she did look really confident. However, it was still feeling like she could have given it a little more. Like, you know what I'm talking about if you've watched pageants before. So I would have liked to see just a tad more from Miss France. So next on my list is number 17, which is Miss Australia. Now, Australia is also, like, a very strong contender in the past for pageants. Not one of the top 5, but it's definitely up there with, you know, some of the most beautiful people and performers, in my opinion. And she definitely stood out on stage. I loved her gown performance too. You could tell that she was just really feeling herself. She looks really smart and sweet. Someone that I definitely want to befriend. And I'm saying too, one thing, she definitely had a strong performance too when it came to her swim. So if she does not make the top
20 at least. I would be surprised, to be honest with you. It would have to be something behind the scenes maybe that we're not seeing, but like she gave such a solid performance that I would be surprised if she didn't, you know, get pulled. So she definitely gave a strong performance for her country. And yeah, she is definitely very beautiful and strong. So we would love to see how she places. So next on my list is number 16, which is Miss Honduras. And she gave me such a stellar performance. So I can actually see her placing a little bit higher too. But I have to say this, she definitely killed the competition. Like, I honestly feel like she had one of the better swim performances of the group, like confidence, body-wise, she looked great. And also, I will say this too, I do think she had a solid performance with her gown performance too. And I loved the gown with the little cape on it. She did it was feeling like she was feeling herself, you could tell. And I was saying to you that this dress was definitely a good option for Miss Universe. It gave Miss Universe definitely vibes. And you could just tell she felt confident and she would be a good fit for the crown. So I would love to see her actually get bumped up further potentially. So we'll see what happens there. So next on my list is number 15, which is Miss Myanmar, so congratulations. First off, I have to say, I was not sure if I liked this dress at first. I knew it was like something a little more intricate, and I liked that she took a risk, and I do actually think this risk paid off with her gown. She felt really gorgeous on stage, and you could tell she was feeling herself, and she was just owning this dress, and it looked like it was made just for her. And I will say this too, she's definitely got a great advocacy behind her back, and she had a strong swim performance. So I would actually be surprised not to see her get called to the top. So we'll see how it goes. So next on my list is number 14, which is Miss Canada. Yay! I actually feel like Canada can be a hit or a miss sometimes, some years with pageants. But this year did not disappoint. Miss Canada, you were standing out to me on multiple levels. So firstly, let's say that your platform's great, you're educated, you're a good speaker. So I do think you could actually pull further with your interview and platform as well. And we'll just have to watch Canada potentially. So with Canada, firstly, I have to say her swim performance was a 10 out of 10. Definitely one of the better performers of the night. You could just tell she was a standout. She was feeling herself. She was confident. She just looked like someone that could fit the role very well. And also, my favorite performance is actually her gown. And I know that some people were not really sure what to think of her gown because it had like those little like embellishments on her sleeves there. And it was just absolutely gorgeous. She was feeling herself, and I love that she took a risk, but it was still like giving Miss Universe. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference. Like she was actually giving like, hey, give me the Miss Universe crown. I'm Miss Universe. I'm the next Miss Universe. So I would love to see how she places next. So next on my list is number 13, which is Miss Salvador. And she gave a stellar performance, and she's also pursuing like 2 degrees, which is insane, like in hospitality and business. So I do think she could actually like make it further than, you know, where I'm placing her right now. But let's just say this, she gave a stellar performance, but the one thing I will say is she's a little young. She's 18. So she's still a baby, and she might have like a harder time making it through like the final rounds or even interview, like less experience in the pageant world, but she gave a clean, consistent performance, and she was a standout, which says a lot like at an international pageant. So I loved her outfits too with swim, and my favorite part was actually her gown portion as well. But I would actually be not surprised to see her place higher. So yeah, 2 solid performances from her. Congratulations. So next on my list, number 12, is Miss Brazil. And oh my goodness, I think everyone can agree that Miss Brazil deserves to be on this top list. Like, she may even place further. I would be actually very sad if she didn't place with the judges, so I'm really hoping for her and manifesting her to get into the top. But the reason I placed her so high, well, firstly, she's an educator, so she definitely has the skills to be a good speaker and a good leader as well, and someone who's very involved with like children. And also too, she speaks more than one language, so I think that the Miss Universe actually would really love that as well. She's definitely a solid contender, very smart, and speaks very eloquently. So, and she performed a million out of 10. I couldn't even choose which performance was better, her swim or her gown, which is a great statement. And I will say this too, I love both of the outfits, especially my favorite outfit personally, not the performance, but the outfit was her gown. And it was this beautiful yellow dress. And like, it almost gave like old pageant vibes, kind of, if you really think so. I can't even remember who, but like old pageant vibes where like you can swing it around and like give it some volume, like the dress when you're moving it around. So it was very light dress, but gorgeous. And it photographed so well too. Like I thought it was definitely a Miss Universe looking dress, and I hope she makes it so she can show her second outfit if she has another one. Some countries don't always have like a second day outfit. Oh yeah. I don't know if you guys know that, but sometimes they have like a second day outfit, like if they make it to final round. And I would love to see Brazil make it because she definitely slayed. And yeah, she's definitely very smart too. So next on my list is number 11, which is Dominican Republic. So congratulations. I have to say this. She is also one of those people who could easily pull to the top of the list or even win. Even though she's not in my top 10, she was definitely a strong contender, and she's very, very smart. Probably one of the better resumes of the entire group. By far, she went to Harvard. She's studying like philosophy and poli-sci, and she's just very smart, very sweet, and very eloquently spoken. I've looked at some of her social media, and I will say this too. Her performance was very stellar, but I will say this. I kind of wish she gave me a little bit more when it came to like her performance, just a tiny bit. But I do see she definitely has the intelligence to make it far. So she could also get picked because she had such an eloquent performance, and she still did stand out against the odds. But you know, if you don't make it to the top 5, then you don't have a chance of winning. So it's hard to sometimes even get to a question and answer. So number 10 on my list is Miss India. And now Miss India may place higher than where I'm placing her, but I have to tell you guys exactly why I'm putting her there. So firstly, she had a phenomenal performance, and I will also say that she's a great dancer, so that is why she had such a great performance. She's just a great performer, beautiful, talented, and I will say this, she also is a dancer, but she never went to like dance school, but she's like a professional Bollywood like dance coach for like, you know, for movies and other shows. So that is really impressive. So I do think that she's someone really competitive, someone very sweet. And I will also say I couldn't choose between her dress or for her gown performance or for her swim. So that is a good thing as well. Like, you know, she just had the audience, and I love that. So I would love to see her even potentially win or get top 5. I'm just placing her here for now because there's a lot of good contenders today too. So next on my list is number 9, and it is Miss Mexico. I love Mexico. Mexico is also a really solid contender sometimes as well. So Miss Mexico is so beautiful, so talented. She's got 2 degrees. She's also a runway coach, very sweet. And oh my God, her performance was a 10 out of 10 easily the whole entire night. I did not see one flaw. And I will say this, my preferred part of her competition was actually her gown. Like her gown was also beautiful. Like it had like slits in it, and it was red and fitted. It looked phenomenal. She was confident. She was feeling herself. And this was part of her expertise. So, because she's a modeling coach. So she slayed. And I'm just saying, I honestly would not be surprised to even see her place higher because of her intelligence and her platform too. But oh my God, I would be so shocked if Mexico did not get pulled for a top contender card. So next on my list is number 8, which is Miss Thailand. And I actually hate placing Miss Thailand here because Miss Thailand is such a talented country for, you know, Miss Universe contenders. And she definitely gave, and I loved all of her outfits. They do an amazing job with their outfits, whoever coaches them and whoever's on their team. She did a great job. And I will also say this, she's very beautiful. She's also very smart. She's pursuing her bachelor's degree, and it sounds like she has a beautiful platform as well. And I'm just saying too, my favorite part of her performance was actually, I couldn't even choose, was my problem, because I was just watching and enjoying her swim and also her gown performance. And I will say this, I really loved how beautiful her gown was too. And her swimsuit was also really standing out. It was like that silver one piece. I just could not take my eyes off her. She was just such a great performer, and I would love to see her win. Next on my list is number 7, and that is Miss Colombia. Now, Miss Colombia, I would also love to see score higher, and it really depends on what the judges want this year. But I will say this, she gave a phenomenal performance, and she is also coming from a country that slays with Miss Universe contestants. So they've got the best gowns, best teams, the best staff. So I knew she was going to place really well, and I was actually hoping she'd place a little bit higher on my list, but I'm going to tell you why. So I will say that she gave a stunning performance, and I do think she's going to place really high because of she's a single mother, and now they changed that rule with Miss Universe where you can actually be a mother and married. So thank God they finally changed that. And I would love to see a single mother win Miss Universe. And she has a platform that deals with single mothers. So it make me really happy. Like the platform's so sweet. But I will say that she's definitely very well spoken and very educated. You can just tell. Gave us a phenomenal performance. And I will say this though, one of my critiques about Colombia in general as a country is sometimes they go like a little bit too similar when it comes to gowns. Like they always choose like those like beaded and silver gowns. I would have loved to see her even in like a different color or something a little bit different. So I would like to see Colombia as a country step out a little bit, but that's her team's fault, not hers. So I am so happy that she is on my list. So next on my list is number 6, which is Miss Venezuela. And I have to congratulate her because, oh my God, she gave a phenomenal performance, and I could honestly see her in the top 5 or even winning. Actually, I'm going to say this too. So any of these girls, especially in the top 10 or even like the top 20, any of them could easily get pulled because you never know what you're seeing behind the scenes or what the judges are seeing. I am just giving you my personal opinions and where I'm placing them. But honestly, you know, they are just all stellar performers to even be mentioned in my top that I said, hey, I see you, you're standing out. You're doing a great job. I will say this. I love this girl's energy on stage. Like you can tell she's a great performer. I loved her dress, even though I normally don't like, you know, silver shiny dresses. This one was giving me a little bit different. Like there was something different about this one. It was just executed differently. I've never seen a dress exactly quite like this one. It looked almost like couture, something a little unique, but still something that said, I'm Miss Universe. And she was just giving. She felt herself in this dress and she just exuded confidence. She gave Miss Universe. And I will say this too, I love that she is a flight attendant that is training and wants to be a pilot one day. So that would be someone really cool. She's definitely very smart, very well traveled, very well spoken. So I would love to see how she places. So next on my list is number 5, which is Miss USA, and I'm actually glad to say this because that is where I'm from, so yay. I actually have to say this though about my country. One thing we're not that strong about is the Miss Universe competition. So we're either like a hit or a miss, and we've had a couple of wins. We're not totally out of the dark, but I will say this, we don't always have the best team behind us sometimes. Like, it can be a hit or a miss for us some years, but I will say this. Last year we also had a phenomenal contestant. This year we have a phenomenal contestant, but I will say this. She's definitely stood out, and I'm going to tell you why. So firstly, she's very educated, and she also has a great platform, and I think that the Miss Universe would love to have her as Miss Universe, like with her platform especially, love working with her, and it's just a very unique one, and she's also an author, like a domestic violence author, which is so cool. I love that about her. So I feel like she could go really far, and I will say this too. Her dress was absolutely gorgeous. And I kept looking at it and her gown performance. She really felt herself there. And you could tell she felt very confident. And she was just standing out. You can just tell that she was giving Miss Universe.
So number 4 on my list is Miss Philippines, and this is a great pageant central. Their country is phenomenal with Miss Universe pageants. They have a great history. And I have to say this, I give her an A+. She's an entrepreneur. She's very successful, and she also is about autism with her family. That is her platform, very strong platform. And I think that she definitely gave a strong enough performance to get pulled. And I would love to see her higher. So number 3 on my list is Miss Nicaragua. Now you guys might not agree with me about this, but I think she had the best preliminary performance for swim and for gown. No one can prove me wrong. There was no doubt in my mind that she had one of the higher points of the night. And if not, I'd be shocked because she really stood out to me and she did not mess up. And she's got a strong platform. She's very smart. So if she does not make it, I'll be very sad. So number 2 on my list is Miss South Africa. Congratulations. You slayed. And oh my God, she has a bachelor's in law. So we know this girl's a great speaker. We know this girl is going to be a strong contender with the judges and behind the scenes with interviews. So if this girl does not get pulled for at least a top 10 or a top 5, I'm going to be so shocked because her performance was clear. I loved her gown as well. It's very unique. And I wasn't sure if I liked it right away, but I took another look at her performance and I'm like, oh my God, that was the perfect dress for her to wear. And it wasn't too much. It was still giving Miss Universe. And I loved both of her performances with swim and
also for her gown, but I think I love gown just slightly more. But oh my god, a 10 out of 10 performance. Loved it. Okay, and number one on my list, my prediction for Miss Universe right now is Miss Puerto Rico. Congratulations. Now first, I have to say this. I had to really re-watch this footage to make my number one prediction. I went back and forth, but now we'll have to wait and see, because any of these people could really pull out, but I have to say this. Her performance was stellar. She's got a bachelor's and a master's degree. She owns her own charity. So I feel like she's a great speaker for sure. Very beautiful, well executed. She's definitely one of the better contenders of preliminary by far. And I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with any of my predictions? Let me know below what your predictions are. What are you thinking? I really have no idea, because when I watched the preliminary, I really didn't have a clear winner. I just like was observing a couple people that really stood out to me. But what do you guys think? Let's chat below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great week.